nice to meet you. You can unmute. My goal is today get to know each other. I always drawn to plein air painting. My grandfather right here, I grew up with, I always tag along every time he goes on plein air, a place called Mount Aso, my hometown back in Kumamoto, Japan. So I started looking around commercial options. There are some options that are less than $25. And if you're willing to spend more, all kinds of options too. So for me, it's always DIY options. Everything that I'm going to show this one is on the Facebook posting. So there's options, people making tin case combination with a plastic Lego block. And there's also, if you go to Japanese store, like Daiso or some places, they have very small plastic cases. This is another vintage tin case. There's extra tips in this YouTube. You may want to check this out. And another option is repurposing old cosmetic cases. I thought this is really creative. And this is another YouTube video that I highly recommend. So this is a very unique, he have an unused tablet case that turned into beautiful palette set. I love the large space for mixing colors. Yeah. Anyone like to share some idea what you're envisioning? What do you hope for?
But my neighbor next door, she used to be a makeup artist. And she had this kind of thing forever. And then I have these. So I can put paints in that.
I had this compass box that I was just hanging on to and hadn't used.
I'm planning to use this little box here, which is a very, very old one that I have. And I have other little containers, like, you know, little things with leads and even earplugs, cases. I don't know. I'll see.
This one. Mm-hmm. And then, and when we do the color wheel, I can put the color wheel on the outside of the tin and use the inside. Maybe, because I don't have a round one.
Yes. So container is a challenge for us to find, because depending on how small you want to get versus some people maybe look for much larger plastic case. It depends on their needs. I prepared a package like this for you to pick up, and I will include glue gun if any of you like to use. Anyone have difficulty to find any container?
I want to show you what I have for cosmetic, but they are pretty small. It's easy to carry out.
See this sushi thing? I carry my water in it.
That's a great idea.
Oh, great idea. Maybe the next meetup, we can share each other what we made, and then color wheel exercise. I will invite artists, friends. Maybe the last meeting, we will hopefully try this out in the park.
Wow, that's nice.
You can use watercolor ground, it's called. It's a liquid that you put down on anything, and then you can paint watercolor on it and it will stick to the watercolor. So this is the cough drops tin. That's the watercolor ground that I just painted on it. And then I can paint on top of that with watercolor and then seal it with acrylic.
I'm just started recording, so I hope everybody's feeling good.
Gross. I like the tin. And then I figured, like the kids, I was copying the kids where they did the little pictures in there. So I thought that. And then I haven't cut my brushes yet, but I am going to cut my brushes to about this small and also fit it in there.
So I had this round one, the candy tin, and I cut watercolor paper so that I can, when we do the color wheel, I can put the color wheel on the top. And then inside, I did, this is a little sample from Lush. I can put a little bit of water in there. It has a screw top. It gets quite watered. So I can get all 12 colors that you gave us in this. That's the inside. So I did 2 layers. And then I'll have this free for to mix my paint. That's my thought.
That's lovely.
That's lovely.
That's so neat. That's awesome. Mine is I'm a little ashamed to show because it is so big. My little tin here with the...
Nice.
Wow.
Wow.
And I used different containers. So there is a lid here, lid of milk cartons. There is earplug case. There is what I got in the package, a little sponge. And I use, tape double face to stick
Double-sided.
away from that. And I'm planning to get maybe some plastic thing to cut and put in here, to make the mixing palette. So this goes in the bag. So the brushes are here. There is also pencil and an eraser. But I found this lead that I can use for mixing. This that I like very much, which is to carry the paper. So I got this old book. It was all destroyed. So I took off the pages.
Oh, wow.
And I
Great
take
idea.
so it keeps the paper organized and protected.
That's
But I also found just today those boxes, those tins, and they are so nice. But I like Leta's idea.
Thank you. That's a great idea. Using only limited to 3 colors or 5 colors of your choice, what would there be your 3 or 5 choices? This one using only 3 colors.
Wow. These are my beginner ones. Keiko gave us a challenge to use 3 colors.
I loved it.
And Jericho at night.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
very simple, as you can see.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Hi, I'm by profession a graphic designer and photographer. So I'm in the arts, but not in the painting and all this hand stuff. I love to do it and I'm doing it, but I feel very intimidated. But yeah, more and more I feel like doing things with my hands and experiment. And I have my little artist here.
Oh my
My
goodness.
son is 5. He loves painting and drawing, and he does that with such a ease and just do it. And it's just so inspiring to see kids. Well, this I made last week, but after I saw that my set was too big, so I made this one. So I put paper here. I made a cover so the paper doesn't fall. I cut round paper, and then in here I have a lead that I found that I'm gonna use for mixing, and a piece of cloth, and I have this little cosmetic thing that I'm gonna use for water.
Good
And
idea.
I cut few brushes that it fits, not awesome brushes. I just cut the spare brushes that I had that fits in here. So I'm gonna experiment with having this inside my bag all the time.
So I'm retired. I got lots of grandkids that love arts. So I started 3 months ago that I tried to paint and everything and try. So after I took the 2 session with you? So I started to make, see this one? I teach Qigong and yoga. So this is Qi Yoga, my logo for my Zoom class. Few days ago, I did this one after I took your class with the 3 colors, except for the tree.
Beautiful. I like that.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. So it's, but it's I find it very energizing. I don't know why. I have lots of energy after I do the watercolor.
And welcome, Lisa.
Oh, hi, Asakiko.
Yeah.
I'm so happy with joining this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Really nice to meet you all. Thank you for showing me your works and your interest. And of course, painting is like a meditation because you're really in the present moment. So you get in this kind of alpha state and you don't know 2 hours.
Okay.
And that's the wonderful thing about it. I'm a painter and I've done large installations and I work in watercolor and oil and acrylic and been teaching for a long, long time at the Shadbolt at Langara. And I love teaching, and I was happy to join Keiko. And I've, of course, brought the Chevril color wheel, which I teach all the time about color mixing. And this is really the roadmap for color mixing. And so this kind of is a wonderful color wheel that works for every color. And there's 6 main colors that you have. So I put out 6 today. I could select 3 to go and work. The cool colors and then the warm colors. So this little kind of mixing thing, and then I've got these. And then one thing for watercolor, and I know you want to be plein air, but an ice cube tray is a wonderful thing. I told this to Keiko because, and a white one, you can get them at the dollar store. And it's really important that your water stays clean because that will contaminate your color. They're quite lightweight. You could take them out with you if you want. And a natural sponge is a great thing for watercolor because you can take anything off with a natural sponge. If something's too dark, you can wet it, take it off. But the other great thing, toilet paper, is a round of toilet paper. It's like a blotter. So if your color is too dark in intensity, you can just blot it. Or if something starts to run, you can just blot it. So that's kind of a nice little thing to have. And I think it's great that you're making these little compact watercolor sets. I have one of the Winsor Newton little tiny ones, but that's more money, of course. You know, the little Winsor Newton sketch box, which has sort of 12 colors in it. So, and another thing I use is this is a cool erase pencil, and it's an animator pencil, and there's all kinds of colors. You can get blues and light blues and reds. And the beauty of this pencil is if you draw something and then you do your watercolor, you can then, after it's dry, erase it. Another pencil line will stay once you wet it. So it's kind of a nice tool to have for watercolor. So tape down, I don't know if you can see, I've taped down my watercolor paper. And sometimes you can wet the back and then tape it down so it doesn't waffle on you so much. So that's a good thing to do.
But I would be curious, if you make travel set, there's only, let's say, the 5 space for that, like that.
Okay.
Like, what color would you recommend?
Okay, I would highly recommend you take your bright yellow here if you're going to do a landscape, because that will allow you to make your leaf greens, your greens here. So you need your cadmium yellow light or your Hansa yellow, lemon yellow, that color. And then the opposite color of the green is the alizarin crimson. So the alizarin crimson is the color you mix to get a shadow in green. I would take that color, and then the ultramarine blue. So your 3 kind of cool. If you're going to only take 3 colors, I would recommend you take 6, but you know, that's me and how I teach. But you don't necessarily need the warm yellow so much. The ultramarine blue you can then mix with the alizarin and get shadow colors, and that can be your sky color too. But if you take 4 colors, if you take your phthalo, then you can get kind of a nice sky as well. If you take your phthalo and your cadmium red light, your orangey red, then you can mix those opposite colors and get a burnt sienna, because you can see at the bottom, those are the secondary colors, the tertiary colors. So orange, phthalo blue, and you can make burnt sienna. And then violet, which is the alizarin, and the crimson, you can make your taupe. And then when you get your green, you can make your sepia, which is your trunk color. See, it's always fun to kind of do some of these mixings to sort of see what you can, you know, you don't have to go and buy a lot of other colors.
How do you make brown?
All right, so here's the color wheel. There's 3 browns. So I'll make one. I'll make a sepia. So I've got my mixing tray here, crimson, and I rinse. And so here I'm rinsing my brush in the ice cube tray, and I'm going to make a green, which is the yellow, and this blue, ultramarine blue. So here I'll make a green. And with watercolor, gang, it's back and forth. So I have to add a bit more yellow. So there's my green and my alizarin crimson, and I'm going to mix them together. There's a brown. It's a kind of a reddy brown.
So you were using yellow and blue?
Yellow and alizarin crimson. I made a green with yellow and blue, and then I added this red to it.
Oh, the red.
So the thing, how this works is, if you want a shadow on something, you don't add black to it, you add the complementary. So if you're painting a lemon and you wanted to do a shadow on a lemon, if you add black, it muddies it. So you add the opposite color, which is violet, to the yellow, and that makes the shadow color. If you're painting trees and you want a shadow, it's the red you add to the green to make the shadow. If you're going on a walk and you do a little drawing, you might want to add color to your little sketch, and it just comes alive afterwards. You add a little touch of color to it. So it's great you've got these compact little palettes for yourselves that you can take out. These tints around the outside edge, I didn't add white. You add more water, right?
Oh, add water. Okay.
And water makes it lighter. And if you have a little scrap, that's always a good thing to have to test your color before you actually put it on.
How can I make a pink?
You just mix red and lots of water. If you want a peachy tone, you'd add this color and the yellow and lots of water. So you see That's peachy tone. That's just with water. It's not, this is just with water. It's not with white.
Judith, can you go back to the colors of the color wheel again once more?
Sure, yes. This is the cadmium yellow light, the lemon yellow, and then that's the cadmium yellow deep, which is a kind of nice warm yellow. It's like a sun color. And then you get cadmium red light, which is a light kind of tomato red. And then alizarin crimson, which is your cool red. It's like a violet kind of red. And then you skip over and you have ultramarine blue and then phthalo blue, and then all the other colors you mix. So the orange is this color and this color together make the orange. And then you get your kind of burgundy color. It doesn't show up so well here, but that's the alizarin with the ultramarine, and it makes a wine color. And then the violet is the same color, but a little more blue, and you get your violet. And then this is phthalo. This is this warm blue. And you can make this kind of sea green color with the phthalo and this yellow, make this color. These, it doesn't show up so well, but this is leaf green, and then lime green is ultramarine, and this color make the leaf, and then a little more yellow, you get the lime color. And then all the colors along, so this is your intense pigment, and then this is your hues, your tones, which is the color with water.
Sometimes the blue come with potion blue, cobalt.
Cobalt blue, yeah. So cobalt is a combination of these two. So you can make that cobalt by combining these two blues. So you don't have to buy it, you can make it with these two blues.
Do you ever just spend time just making some paint pots ready to the colors you like? Like you spend time?
Sometimes. Yeah. And the thing that's hard for watercolorists is your blues are awfully dark when you put them out. So you might want to write, this is phthalo here, and this is ultramarine, because sometimes you can see them more clearly in acrylic, but in watercolor, there's such intense pigments, they're hard to read. I often suggest to students that they write them in. But yeah, that's a good idea. Say if you want to take something out and you've got it handy, that's a good thing. Yeah, Jenny could put a red glaze over her tree, and that would darken the green she has. So a glaze over top. So don't be afraid to do that, and see how the translucent colors move. It's really fun to play with color that way.
How big has your biggest painting been?
11 feet by 7 feet. Yeah.
You have a studio to go with that?
Yeah, but it's a small studio, so that was a challenge to make that painting. Yeah, it was really, and I couldn't get back to I had to try and photograph it to see if it was working.
Wow, that's stunning. Your whole body, I suppose, gets into that.
It does.
What are your hints about how to sit and paint and how to stand for the plein air paintings outside? And is there a posture you should always be in?
There's a great easel, a watercolor Winsor Newton easel that can go flat or stand straight up. So that's kind of a nice tool, but that's more money and everything. You know what's a great tool is this kind of foam core stuff that's really, really light. You can cut it with an X-Acto knife, so it doesn't have to be this big, but it's a really nice tool to, lay on. You can put it upright like this and work that way, or flat on your lap. It's a really great way to work. And you can certainly cut it so it's smaller for your traveling use.
Do you see this color at all?
Oh, yeah.
How would you get that? It's like a beige color.
So what I would do for that is, so sometimes you can look at something and think, what's the root of that color? And for me, it's a more violet tone. So what you want to do is make violet with crimson and ultramarine, make those two, mix those together, and then add a little yellow and lots of water.
Wow.
So
I was going to go for brown and water it down, but
you'll be making a brown, but it's got a bit of a violet touch to it.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That is, thank you. That's just awesome.
That's nice. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I think you're an expert. Thank you, Judith.
Oh, you're welcome. How to do an easy sky.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we love that. Yeah.
Say that's my painting, and I'm going to sort of decide, and often landscape is in thirds, the foreground, the middle ground. So maybe I'll just sort of say that's, my sky there. So what I'm going to do, wet the whole part that I decide will be the sky, but only to that line where, can you see I've got the water on that part? So instead of using a brush to brush in your color, so you'll get the color, and I'm just gonna let that color go along the top and let it drip down. So you're gonna use and hold your paper up and let it fall down. So it's kind of coming down, but it stops where I've not wet the paper. So you can see rolling down the sky. And then what you can do is you can take your toilet paper if you want, and you can kind of sort of dab in some clouds if you choose. So the paper itself, color running down, has created the sky. So you let it dry, and then you can go in and fill in your landscape. A nice way of getting a soft sky in without using a lot of brush strokes to create it. That's the sky.
That's great.
Thank you so much. Anyone like to
It's
share?
the same color, so.
So you just needed more yellow. You needed a bit more yellow in it.
Okay, that's
and
good.
And a little more red, and it would get
A little
there.
more red, okay.
A little
Thank
more red and yellow, yeah.
I just do the 3 colors.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Nice.
Wow. Aw.
Very nice. Yeah.
My first time, so excited. Thank,
Very good. Very good.
Ah.
Excellent.
thank you.
Keep it up.
So I just wonder if we have a choice to gather in the park and then bring the set and the paint.
We keep our distance.
Okay, but I will send you everybody invitation and we can bring our set and then testing out.
No, very, very idea.
And thank you, Judith, so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Judith.
you, everyone.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that's my tree.